Okay. All right. Well, welcome everybody to our meeting today and our continuing discussions on an employment service for the lower northern neck and whatever form that may take. We want to especially welcome today Joanne Murchison and Francis Kenyer, both of whom are involved with employment issues. And Judy, would you be able to introduce them a little? I know their names, I know where they come from, but I don't know anything more about our guests. Can you help out a little bit, please?
I think it might be more effective, Tom, if they introduce
If
themselves. I don't know
introduce
much more than
themselves.
RCC and Virginia Career Works. So,
So we have
let's
two
kind-
mystery people with us today.
I know they're awfully nice on the phone.
So Francis, let's have you go first, and then we'll have Joanne, and then maybe we can kind of launch right into Joanne's presentation. So Francis, you're at RCC.
I'm at RCC. I work for all of the college, but of course we have academics and we have workforce, but we call ourselves one door. So it's no distinction between the two, but I do the outreach for whoever needs me at the time.
Okay, all right. And of course, we'll hear from you a little bit later. The focal point of our group is we're exploring the idea of an employment service of some sort in the area. We're not aware of much that's going on, but then the more we talk, the more we see a little bit going on here, a little bit going on there. And so maybe there's more activity than we possibly realize. And if our project does nothing else than to uncover the efforts that are already going on, that'll be a step forward. But maybe there's something else we can be doing in terms of employment, especially at the link. And I don't know if you and Joanne are familiar with the link. That is the organization that's sort of the driver in this. But we were set up about 10 years ago to help the churches of our area work with folks who come to them with emergency financial needs. Because often they don't know who the people are. They don't know how to interview. They're kind of at a loss. They want to help, but they're not sure how to do it. So we got set up as a screening service for the churches, and each year we process we work with maybe 200 to 250 people, sometimes 300 or more, and we put out email notices to churches saying, so-and-so needs some help. What can you do to help? And so we've been able to help folks that way for 10 years. And one of the needs that's come up consistently in our work, especially of late, is employment questions. How can I get a job? Where can I find a job? How can I upgrade from where I am in my job? So these are things we're thinking maybe we should be doing for our clients at the very least, is becoming more conversant with employment questions. And maybe there's even a need for a greater service in the area. We just don't know. That's why we're asking. And the Lutheran Church, Living Water Lutheran Church, has been really wonderful to partner with us on this. So they're present in this phone call as well. We have screeners present from the link. Carol Sutton and Edna Mason are two of our screeners. And so I'm so glad they're here with us today. They've been with the link a long time, and they have had some wonderful input already into maybe the directions we should be heading with an employment question. And Judy, let's see, Vash, for the Lutheran Church, we have Nancy with us. There's no one else from the church, is there? Just you and Nancy today?
No, Bob Rayford needs a shout out. He's our other representative.
Yeah.
But he's not able to be with us today. And Nancy Maurer, we're the three of us are the three mission development team representatives. Yep. From Living Water. Mm-hmm.
And Vashti Jones is a member of our link board, and she's been with us from the very beginning of the link. and continues to be just such a helpful and productive member of our team. So that's kind of who we are. So Francis, thank you for your introduction. And Joanne, tell us a little bit about you and the work you do. And then, well, I guess you're going to tell us about the work you do.
Right.
That's the biggie here.
Right.
But anything you want to share about yourself, we certainly are would like to hear. And you've already mentioned that you're in Quantico.
Right. That's where I reside. And I come to the Bay Consortium Workforce Development Board now 3 months, but I've been in workforce development for about 7 years now, working with Goodwill Industries prior to the pandemic. So this body of work is familiar to me. And so through the Bay Consortium is what I'm going to give you information on now that could possibly work collaboratively with you and your organization to bring more services to your constituents and folks that need help down in the Northern Neck. So just an overview, this position was vacant for quite a long time, and they felt the need with the changes in the Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act, or WIOA, to put it back into place because sections of the regions were not being covered by the resources. And so that's why my job as business services representative is boots on the ground and make sure that the businesses and the communities that we serve know about the resources that we provide. So that's, I can go right into the slideshow from there, unless you have any questions.
Jump right in.
Right. So, we're mission driven, we're a nonprofit, but we are funded by the government. So it's not your kind of traditional nonprofit, but our job is to connect the employers, the education providers, the job seekers, and everybody so that they have the resources that they need to get the financial help they need, to get the upskilling, to get whatever they need in the community so we can attain to economic self-sufficiency. And so the region that we're in the Workforce Development Area 13, and I cover 16, 17, 18, and 22. So it's pretty large from the Chincoteague down over to, except for Gloucester, and over to the landmass, the big landmass, up to Stafford. So that's the area that this Workforce Development Board covers. We have 2 centers. We actually have 3 centers. One in Fredericksburg, one in Warsaw, which I'm based out of, and one on the Eastern Shore. So for the purposes of this conversation, I'm going to assume that most of your constituents, if they needed to be in person, would come to the Warsaw office based on their locale.
And that office is, you say, it looks like it's on Main Street. So that's, as you come into Warsaw to the stoplight, is that where you turn right, coming on Route 3? Is that where you turn right, or 360, I guess? You turn right and go down to the older part of town, like where the post office is, that part?
Right. I'm so glad you didn't put me on the spot with the left or the right, because I have no idea. I just know when I'm on the road, I know which way to go. So post office, yes, it's right up on the
Okay.
post office.
All right.
So yeah, I'm assuming that most of your constituents would come in person
Yes.
to the Virginia Court Works in Warsaw. So if you're not familiar with WIOA, the Workforce Innovation or Opportunity Act is a federal funded grant that is there to help those who are unemployed and underemployed, those who need adult education and literacy, those who have been unemployed but need their unemployment benefits. That's the Wagner-Pfizer, where the Virginia Employment Commission comes in. And then also our DARS is another one of our big partners who is mandated by the state to work with us for those who are challenged individually with disabilities and need vocational rehabilitation. So all of those come under this big Bay Consortium Workforce Development Board. All of these are our partners. And this is what we work on together. Now, additionally, this is the primary focus of our work, but additionally, we are looking for other avenues of funding so that we can better serve each community based on their needs. So like Go Virginia grants and those sort of things are fundings that we're looking to get so we can talk to your community and say, we can build a program to fit your needs. So that's just another piece of the puzzle too. And so additionally, again, so this kind of gives you the one-stop system overview. So the money comes from the Department of Labor. It comes down to the state through the VCC, the Virginia College System. Then it funnels down to the Workforce Board, which I represent. And then we have our one-stop partners, which Rappahannock Community College is one of. And as you saw on the other slide, Goodwill, um, Virginia Department of Social Services, the VEC, Germanna, Failsafe for our reentering folks, Melwood for those folks who have challenges in terms of disabilities, and Eastern Shore Community College as well as one of our partners. So it's a lot of moving parts in this one-stop system.
Joanne, if I could have a question on the
Sure.
one-stop partners, what do they actually do for this
Okay,
effort?
okay, let me go back. Nancy, Miss Fairchild, see how I was rolling? And then all of a sudden you ask the question, now I messed up my PowerPoint here.
I tried to get it in there before you.
Let me get it back together.
Try.
So all of these partners work differently. So with Goodwill, what they do is they actually manage a part of the operations center. So what they do for us is they are in the center and they are contracted through the grant to make sure that their one-stop system or that job center works. We have everything we need on site for the person, either the employer or the employee, to come in and use the resources, whatever they may be. So they make sure then that the partners work together real well as well. So if there's I won't step on Francis, but with Germanna, if they have a program or service that is available to individuals that are eligible for WIOA funds, then we'll work with Germanna to get that person into that program with the WIOA funding. And so that's how we work together through this funding entities. That's how we work together. And these partners are mandated by the state. They have to, and the government, they have to be a part of the workforce in order for us to handle those funds. Did I answer your question?
Yes, you did. Thank you.
Okay, all right. So this is some of the services that we offer to, now think both sides, you have to think the job seeker as well as the employer. So we hold hiring events. So if an employer comes to us and says, we've got 15 jobs and we need them filled, then they can come to us and we'll hold a job fair for them. We'll advertise that job for them. We will post a job on our site for them, as well as match, recruit, go through the database of folks that we have, those job seekers, and match them. So that's a free resource for an employer. If you're on the other side, the job seeker side, you come into Workforce Center, we put your profile in the system, we help you build a resume. So once your resume is in that system, it will automatically send you a message if you fit the criteria of an employer who's looking for a job. So it's an automatic job board. You're posted, your profile's there. And if you match, they'll send you an email and say, this job may be for you. And then back to the WIOA internship programs, as well as WIOA credentials that we offer to job seekers who are coming in. So to your to your question about what kind of resources can we provide that job seeker, they can get credentials through programs that we work with, RCC, ESCC, Germanna Community College. And if they're eligible for that funding, we can pay for some of that training as well.
Joanne, question.
Sure.
You said employers advertise jobs. Is there quite a large buy-in that employers do? Are they aware of this service? It seems
So
like everybody's using the apps these days with Indeed.com and things like that. But what's the employer response for your services?
So this has been in existence for quite a long time. So there is a body of employers that are signed on to working with the VAWC, in addition to their Indeeds and the Monsters and whatever. But yes, it's a free resource. And so to answer your question, yes and no. There are industries that are more aware of the VAWC, the Virginia Workforce Connection, whereas there are a lot that are not. And again, that goes back to what I said about my position, is because who makes up most of the employers are small businesses. A lot of small businesses don't know. So that's my boots on the ground. That's my job, is boots on the ground, letting employers as well as job seekers know that this is a resource for them. So that it's a yes and no question.
Joanne?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you, this is Judy, are you aware of any or many Northern Neck employers who use this posting service?
So off the top, I can tell you Norton Yachts, West Rock, which is one of the large employers in the Northern Neck area. They're a lumber company. Without looking at and pulling up a list, just off the top, West Rock, Purdue, more Eastern Shore. What's it? I'm just trying to give you another big one that would be down in your area.
Okay,
And off the top, I can't, but there are
Okay.
some. There are some. Yes, ma'am.
that helps. Thank you.
And if you would like to know that, then there's a report that I can pull that can tell us who is an employer from the Northern Neck that uses the portal that we have.
Okay,
So that if that's something you want, just let me know and I'll be
Okay,
glad to
thank you.
provide that. Mhm. So here, this is for the job seeker side. So you can come in, you can search for a job. You don't have to come in to search for the job. You have the funding for training. You have internships. Now, the internships are a little bit looser than like an apprenticeship. So the internships would have to be determined by the employer, meaning is it paid? How much will you get paid? How much time is necessary to complete that internship? That is not something we drive. That would be something that the employer would drive. On the other hand, which this particular slide does not speak to, is the apprenticeship programs that we do have through the Department of Labor. And that is one of the most robust programs that I just want to talk up everywhere I go, because it's just such a good way for people to, if they're just entering the job market, to gain a skill, get paid, have an opportunity to join that organization, that company, as well as those who are re-entering the job market, who want to upskill, who want, like you mentioned, Tom, who want to change their job track, their career path. That's an excellent way to do that. And a lot of the companies I just was on the Eastern Shore, and they rolled out this plan again for another year, because it has just been so well received by employers, to make sure that they have a skilled pipeline for their businesses. I mean, it's just such a natural thing. So that's something that's available to job seekers as well. And if you want more information on that, like I said, it's not in this particular presentation, but I do have it available.
I
The,
think
Go
that
ahead.
will be helpful to have additional information on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Joanne, you said people can come into the office and view all this. This can also be accessed online.
Yeah, so if they are on the Virginia Workforce Connection,
Mhm.
they can go to it and they can sign into it on their own. If it's
Okay.
a little bit intimidating, so I will say,
What-
I will say,
Well, what I'm thinking in particular is if say the link has one or two people who kind of specialize in employment questions, if they could have access to that website, they can go in and see what's available for jobs in our area, that kind of thing.
absolutely. So what we would do is just set you up the link as an organization, build a profile for you, and that way you can have full access to whatever job seeker would need. And then, whatever you would need from us in supporting you and using that, that's what we're here for.
Okay.
Joanne, would it be possible for the Link Living Water entity to be sort of a satellite of Virginia Career Works through
That's
this?
a very that's a
Yeah.
very interesting question. And it's a wonderful question, actually. What I'm going to say is we are looking for ways to deepen our presence in every community, particularly in the Northern Neck Mid-Peninsula. So I will definitely look into that and get back to you right away to see, what we can do. And in terms of you being a satellite, would you have access to computers? Would you have that already in place for your job seekers, or would you need that kind of support?
We can always use an upgrade.
Yeah, both.
Need computers, because the computers that we had in our administrative offices were purchased years ago.
Okay.
So if the money is available for that type of funding, we could always use it. But would that be classified as a one-stop if we took on that responsibility?
The best I could say right now, it would just be a satellite of where we
Okay.
would come in and provide you guys with the services, training, or whatever, and we'd have to build that program out based on your needs.
Okay.
Okay.
It'd be fun to have the Link and Living Water logos there with that collection of the one-stoppers.
Right, it would be.
It would be cool.
Yes, it would be.
Well, I don't know what that process is. I am not an SME on that at all. So, so in-house, we do have the computers, the Wi-Fi, and then we also offer career navigation services. So if somebody came in and they just didn't know, they didn't have an idea what they wanted to do, say you're a young person and you just really don't know, then, somebody sits down and does an assessment, just gets a sense of what it is you're interested in, and then offers the resources that they can use to get to where they want to go. So we just kind of meet people where they are. What do you want to do? So the question is, what do you want to do? So that's how we service the folks on the job seeker side. And then this is just given a basic picture of what we do in-house in terms of skilling up folks who just, don't know the computer, don't know what a mouse is, or those folks who have used computer for a number of years, but they need a refresher. So we have these classes that are online as well as virtual. And this is really conducted out of our Fredericksburg Center. So if somebody in your area wanted to take advantage of this, it would probably be in person unless they wanted to travel up to Fredericksburg. And then there's a schedule as well. So we offer that too. And then, as I mentioned before, there's the internships and the registered apprenticeships, which I will definitely provide you guys more information on. And so that's pretty much the end of my side of the story. But one of the key parts of how we do what we do is the partnerships. And Rappahannock Community College is one of our partners. So Ms. Kinyer, if you don't mind taking it away. You're still muted.
I'm sorry. I was saying I don't need to share the screen.
Okay.
I can just tell what I do. I did not bring a PowerPoint presentation. I can just explain to you what I do and perhaps answer the questions you may have.
Please do.
I'm sorry?
Please do.
Oh,
Yeah.
I do the outreach for Rappahannock Community College, which means I'm everywhere in the community. I have no set time schedule, day schedule, wherever people need me that want to talk about what can I do to go to school, if it's workforce, if it's academics. For example, are you familiar with Compass Entertainment? I went to talk to Mr. Patterson at Compass Entertainment, and we now have a partnership that our students who take culinary arts can come and work at Compass Entertainment, or they can hire people that they believe in and send them to us, and we will train them in culinary arts. So that's just one example. I go to jails, I go to shelters, I go to homeless mothers programs, just to sit down face to face. I don't have an agenda. We do have our catalogs that come out. This is fall and winter. We have spring and summer, fall and winter. They come out twice a year, and they tell you about the classes that we offer. This is primarily workforce, but like I said earlier, we do have what we call one door. So it's not workforce against academics. Whatever you need the school to do, we will try to help you in that area. Example, a gentleman called me just before I came to this meeting and said, I've been an inmate for 5 years and now I'm out and I want a CDL. So we're going to, I turned his name over to the proper people, and we're going to help him get a CDL and pretty much help him pay for all of it. So that's the kind of thing that I enjoy. I enjoy talking to people who sometimes feel like they have no hope. I don't know how to get a job. I don't have any skills. I need a GED. Recently, I joined up with Lancaster Community Library, and they put me on their board. The first thing I did was call a meeting with our GED instructor. So now they're going to have a program at Lancaster Community Library where people can come in and study for their GED. People come in and say, I don't know how to fill out this form. I want to do this. Well, all of those kinds of services, we are hoping that RCC will be in position to help people do those things. And I go everywhere from New Kent to Warsaw. I have not yet been to King George, but that's my goal. I'm going to King George, but I go to schools, I go to parent-teacher conference, I go to jails, I go to hospitals. I've been to Haynesville, I can't tell you how many times. I go to parent-teacher conference. I go wherever I'm needed in the community to tell people what kinds of things we offer. And what really brings me joy is when their faces light up that I say, oh, that costs $4,500, but we can give it to you for $150. Oh my God. So that makes my day.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what I do. Mostly I work with the workforce part, but I do have relationship with all of the college navigators in all of the high schools. So when I'm out and about, I advocate for the academics as well as the workforce.
Okay.
And I'll be happy to answer any questions if I can.
So in your outreach, Francis, you run across somebody who says, yeah, I'm trying to get a job. Where do you go from there with that person? What do you talk about?
If they know what they want a job in,
Mhm.
then I can try to narrow it down for them. If they say, for example, I'm just getting out of jail, I don't have any skills, but I need income. Do you have a GED? Do you have a high school diploma? Do you have college credits? What would you like to do? They come to my office, we talk, we try to get them channeled into what they want to do. And many, many times we have the money to help with the finances in doing this. I go to shelters, I go to substance abuse meetings and talk to people who say, yes, I've been here for a long time, but now I'm kind of getting it together and I want to go to work. How can we help you? Would you like to come in? During the time of COVID, I couldn't bring too many people in the building to just look around and talk, but now I can do that a little more so they can see what we have to offer. Guidance counselors call me and say, I have this kid and we get ready to kick him out in the street. Can you come in for about 30 minutes and talk to him? And we do that. I'm a retired teacher, so that's what I do. And the so-called bad kids are the ones I love the most because again, I like to see their faces light up when I say, all you have to do is keep it together until June. And then you go into college and I'm gonna help you. And parents like it, the students like it, adults like it. So that's pretty much what I do.
I
Yes,
know.
Lee?
Francis, how would you see a link entity working or interfacing with what you do? How could we both take advantage of and enhance what you do if we form this employment service?
If you form an employment service,
Mhm.
I can come and speak to them. I can bring you some of these that show the classes that we offer.
Mhm.
Employers of all different kinds call me periodically, so I'll be happy to share that information. We even have people who say, I don't know how to fill out an application. This is what I want to do. Can somebody help me fill out the application? Yes, we'll be happy to do that. So wherever you want to meet, it doesn't, I have no time schedule. I have to write something so somebody can pay me, but it doesn't work because people call me. I had one young man that just gotten out of jail. He lived in, he's not dead, he's back in jail, but he lived in King and Queen and he got a job in Kilmarnock. He didn't have any transportation. So for a while, maybe about 2 months, I got up in the morning and drove to King and Queen, picked him up, carried him to work, went back the evening and carried him back home. I read him the Riot Act a few times and his mother loved me because he would have been back out on the street quicker than he was. But this is where my heart is and this is what I like to do. And I like to see people's faces light up because now they know they have a chance. So whatever I can do in that capacity, that's what I want to do. I work with the Boys and Girls Club, just like I work with the library.
Question.
Thank you.
Just a question, Francis.
Yes.
When you were talking about all the employers that you have visited, such as the jail, and I forgot some of the other ones you named, do you have a list of what they're looking for as far as skill level or
If they tell, I don't
anything?
have a personal list because it's pretty much different for wherever I go. So when we sit down and they say, this is what I need, then I come back to school and see who I've talked to. I talk to the college navigators, other people who work in workforce and academics. Here's a nursing home and they need some CNAs. So how many CNAs are we gonna have within the next 90 days? That's the kind of thing that I like to do. So I don't have a set list. Whatever they tell me they need, I try to work with it.
Right.
So Ms.
So,
Vashti, that would, if that's what you need to know, if that's the kind of data you need, then you could come to the Virginia, we're all partners and we all do the same thing. So, but if you wanted to know more about what the employer wants, if they're in our system, then we have that information. We have their
Right.
job descriptions. We have what the criteria are. So if you had an employer that you had in mind that you wanted to work with, that's the kind of data you can get just by calling me up and we can pull that information for you.
okay, so here I have the information available as far as what the employer is looking for. And I have a candidate that does not have all the skills, but they have some of the skills. So could then I send it to Francis and Francis influences the curriculum at the school
No.
to change? Okay.
You can send the
So these
person.
skills, yeah,
I'm sorry.
so these skills can be transferred to this individual who's seeking a job, that
Right,
communication would go in a circular fashion
right.
where everybody is working towards getting this person into that job.
That's correct.
If they say I need X number hours more in nursing, then, but I don't have any more money to pay for it, and you send it to me, then I'm going to somebody on staff in nursing. How can we help this person?
Okay,
And then if they don't necessarily have the funds, then what can the state offer? So
okay,
if Rappahannock Community College doesn't have the funds, then Francis would call us up and say, hey, this person, are they eligible for funding? So that's how we cover the community, making sure that every resource, any way they enter, the
okay.
resources are available.
A lot of our funds are state funds anyway.
Right.
Mhm.
I love the flexibility. I really do. So it sounds good. But Judy, this is something you would have to picture more so.
But I think that the one point that you mentioned, Ms. Thompson, was that the satellite part, because that'll be the one-stop shop. We'll bring the resources that you need to you there. And like Francis said, if it's there that we need to meet your constituent, then it's there we meet your constituent. And then from the employer side, in the area, keeping track of who is in the system, what they're offering, what the criteria for the jobs are. We can get the jobs list for you for that area. So, that could be done on a monthly basis, because we provide those in center, who has listed most recently the jobs that are available and what the criteria for those jobs are. So if that's something your constituents need, or you guys need to help them, that's doable.
Could we maintain our own local website of job postings in addition to yours?
If you have that capacity, it wouldn't be necessarily linked to the Virginia Career Works.
No.
No,
Yeah.
but your own, yeah, sure.
Okay. Other questions? A lot of good information here today.
The thing is, we don't want you to duplicate effort. If there's something that we can help you with without you having to create the wheel all over again,
Mhm.
that's why we're here.
Yeah.
And if we need to tweak it a little bit to fit your constituents, we have that flexibility too.
I love how uplifting this feels, just giving people hope.
Yeah.
I think that's why we do what we do,
Mhm.
because I feel the same way.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What can be done for those people? I was looking at the link requests the other day. They don't have transportation. That seems to be such a big issue. For instance, they lost their driver's license for various reasons, so they won't have it for a year. So there's no hope of them having, they can't drive to work. What is there for those type of people?
Bay Transit has been very, very good to us. With whatever we've asked them for in those situations, they try to make it available to the person. There's also ride share. A lot of people have that, but yeah, Bay Transit is really, really good to us.
But they don't run on weekends, I understand, Bay Transit.
I don't know.
I don't think they do, from what I've been hearing about it. So, but at least if you had a job during the week, and of course they only run during the day too. So, but that seems to be a huge issue down here. People don't have their driver's license, or they don't have a car.
And Miss Nancy, I think that problem is going to be with us for a while.
Yeah, you're probably.
Yeah, they say that, one of the, rural areas in general, the transportation issue is real because you need it because of distances involved, and we don't have public transportation to really any great degree. They're saying that in inflationary times, people are literally forced to move from their rural areas closer to cities because
Mhm.
of a transportation question. How can I get to my job in a reasonable, financial way? So that's a big issue. You're right, Nancy. It's a big one. Other questions for our guests?
So I have a question for you. With regard to information, where do you want me to send it? Or bring it? Or, because I'm available to come visit.
Probably the easiest, Joanne, would be I can give you my email address and my phone number. I serve as that liaison if you would like,
Okay.
and I can kind of spread it out from there.
Okay. All righty.
So my email is Tom Coy, TOMCOYE @hotmail.com. Yes, I have a Hotmail address.
I wasn't gonna say a word. I
You
was
won't
not
give
gonna
it
say
out.
I do
anything.
too.
I wasn't
People are
gonna say-
snickering.
That's one of those retro things. I mean, oh
Right.
man, you still got a
Ah.
Hotmail address? Where you been?
I can't say anything. I still have my AOL. It's
Yeah.
long.
Wow.
My Gmail.
Wow.
I have both, so.
Yeah. And my phone number is 804-436-5048.
Okay. Got it.
You
Okay.
should have
so-
my number too, Joanne,
Yeah.
if you need it.
Yes, I do. Yes.
Yeah.
And Joanne, if you send me something and I don't respond in a couple days, it probably meant it went to my spam folder. So
Okay.
feel free to text me saying, Tom, did you get that email?
Okay.
And,
Will do.
And that'll prompt me to look over my junk folder. So thank you.
Okay.
Francis, where's your office? Do you actually have an office somewhere?
Yes, I'm in it at Rappahannock. I work at the Glens campus primarily.
The Glens,
My
okay.
office is at the Glens campus, but we serve
Okay.
all of the area.
Right.
My office is in my car.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, Joanne, when you showed the map of the area that you're responsible for, that's a lot of real estate. And I imagine that Zoom is a big help for you in your work, that you communicate a lot more effectively, but you do have to get out there and drive those distances now and then.
Well, I just came off the Eastern Shore for 3 days.
Yeah.
So yeah, spending time with our partners down there
Yeah.
and making, doing the same thing each place, and
Yeah.
just making sure we're speaking to the needs of that community and partnering with STARS. They had a wonderful camp for kids with disabilities from 12 to 18, and showing them, how to use the bus system and building a resume online, because they're going to have to get a job too. I mean, so these kids are able to work, and what does that look like? And this week they're having employers come in so they can talk to the employers and get a sense of what it takes to be on the job. What do you need to do? What do you need to look like? How are you supposed to act? So those are the kinds of things in the community we're really striving to do as the Bay Consortium, because we have, we go from rural to PD 16, which is flourishing. So the needs are not quite the same, but the services need to be there for folks who need us. So
All right. Any other questions for Joanne or for Francis?
just don't ask me to sing. I'll be here all week. Sorry.
Well,
If you don't hear from us, we haven't forgotten you. And
Okay.
we're just sort of discerning the way forward here, talking to people, letting ideas germinate. And we certainly thank you for sharing what you do. It's very helpful.
And if you, along the way, as you're letting this marinate, germinate, whatever, and you need some input, just give us a call.
Yeah,
Will
yes, will do.
Will
Okay.
do. All right, well, I think Joanne and Francis, if you want to go off and begin the rest of your lives, you may go ahead and do it now.
Thank you.
We'll hang
Thank
in
you
here for
very
a few
much.
more minutes.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Take care now. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. There was some mighty good information in this
Yeah.
from these two
Yeah.
people. Boy, that was great. I'm not sure how we can work with them, but I sure do want to hang with them some more.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How many people know about these services?
That's probably the problem right there.
That seems to be
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
another best kept secret.
Yeah.
You know, we're sort of informed and we don't know about it. So how
Yeah.
would somebody
Yeah,
uninformed?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, of course we are recording this, so I'll get that link to you when it's done processing. So if you want to revisit this meeting, please do, and I'll of course send it out to the rest of the group too who couldn't be here. Where do we go next with this? Do we have any more interviews to do, Judy, that you can think of?
No, I think Bob Rayford has been dabbling in talking to the school superintendent in Northumberland, as well as a guidance counselor, but I'm not sure where that stands, but
Yeah.
other than that, no.
Yeah, because we've done the Chamber of Commerce and Northumberland Economic Development. Okay. So maybe the next round should be let's try a draft proposal of what to do that we could present to everyone, and then literally, work it through, modify it, amendment, do whatever we need to do to make it work right. But maybe we're ready for a trial proposal. Would you all think?
Do you want everyone to draft something, or should we start from a common document? I think it'd be easier.
Let's start with a common document.
Yeah, okay,
And then we'll all pounce on it, and
okay,
that's our chance to really get our ideas in there. So
okay, yeah.
What I would like to see is an actual scope. Okay, some type of scope document before we even get to the proposal level. What is the scope of the project?
Okay.
What do we want to do?
You mean like a
what's-
mission statement?
Yeah.
It's
So
like,
it limits
who
the
are we gonna
scope.
yeah, who are we
Right.
going to include? What area are we going to cover?
Right.
What will we try to do? What we will not try to do? That kind of thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because scope creep can get you into a world of trouble when you're trying to write a
no.
proposal. You're all over the place, but
First
You need
there's
to
COVID, then
define.
there's monkeypox, and now there's scope creep. It's terrible, Vashti. All right, so we could put out maybe kind of a scopy thing then, for starters, to say, does this sound like the project we have in mind? Are we doing too much? Are we doing too little? That kind of thing. That's kind of what you're getting at.
yeah.
That's fair. That's fair. That's also easier to start off with. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll be happy to do it, unless someone else would like to do it. I'm perfectly willing to let others participate.
I would collaborate, or
Collaborate, okay. All right. Any other collaborators?
No, not here. That's not my thing.
Well, you'll all be collaborators anyhow, ultimately, because they're all gonna
Right.
get documents, so we'll all be able to have input, but, okay, well, let me, I'll write up a draft and Judy and I will bounce it off each other, and then when we get something, we'll move it on to everyone, and we can work from there.
Okay.
All right. Anything else for the good of the cause? Okay,
What's
Well-
happening on the grant, I guess, or, asking for money? Where is that at? Or this we need to do first?
this we need to do first, Nancy. And actually, when it comes to the grant, I think we have absolutely no problem getting money.
Okay.
It's a little scary. I'm so used to begging and being denied. And DuPont seems to have this faucet which says, please turn me on. And we can get up to $15,000 with a simple request.
Okay.
So,
You're talking about for this project.
yeah,
Okay.
I think behind Nancy's question is that at Living Water, we're getting into budget season. And we're trying to think how much we might need to set aside for this project. And when we first started talking, we heard 5 figures, and now we're hearing open faucet from DuPont. So we
Yeah.
just,
I think what this may be part of our scope that
right,
we're getting into, which is what kind of services will we offer in under the rubric of employment services? What services will we offer? And will there be some money involved with those services? We've already talked about maybe having a person who's a specialist in this be kind of our go-to. And that's where I think DuPont could probably be most helpful with funding, because they like that stuff. They love that stuff. But maybe there's funding possibilities for things like, I don't know, maybe,
computers.
yeah, computers or equipment or training. That Francis mentioned, there's a bunch of training through RCC, but not everybody's going to go through RCC. That maybe there's some other way we can have funding available to help a client, get kind of the help that's needed or the training that's needed to move on with a career choice. And so maybe when I have a reserve fund there, and maybe that's where the Lutheran Church can be helpful. I just don't know yet, but the more we talk, the more these possibilities can come up. I know that doesn't answer your question for the coming year's budget.
Yeah, no, that's fine. We
But-
got I
yeah.
think, a feel for it. That's
Yeah.
fine.
What you might want to do, this is Pastor Tom talking to congregation. You might want to say, and maybe you're already thinking this, that we're heading in this direction. We don't know what's going to be spent for yet, but we want to segment $1,000 or something like that over the next year just for this purpose. And we'll know more what it looks like when we actually have, the link finally gets to that point. But we know we want to invest it there, but just set aside the money without actually naming what the project is.
Thank you.
Well, one thing that came out of our meeting with Joanne especially is there are funds available through her organization.
Yeah.
And so when we've had our earlier conversations, all our funding was coming from DuPont, every time we thought about funding.
Mhm.
But now we have the opportunity for funds to come from the federal government, the state.
Mhm.
And so I know that you and Judy will be having conversations with Joanne. And you may ask, what type of funding could we get if we need computers, or this is a scope that we want, this is what we want to do, and our funds available, before you even write
Mhm.
something down. So that may help with the budget process.
Very good. That's right.
That's right.
All right.
Okay. Thank you guys for
you,
organizing
everybody.
this.
Yeah, thanks, everybody.
It's been a good hour. Thank you.
Thank you.
See you later.
Thumbs up.
Stay tuned.
But you're gonna post this, right, Tom?
Yes, yes.
So right in the middle of everything, I got a FaceTime call from my 2-year-old grandson. So I'm running down the steps with the iPad with Dave. I come up, I move my computer screen and I unplug the monitor. So then I've had to switch back to my, it was like, and then I just missed a big chunk of this. So I'd like to go back and look at it. So
Sure.
I'm sorry I fell off there, but that's what I was running around like a crazy person.
Well,
So
that's,
anyway,
that's the beauty of recording.
That's right. And that was a good
Yes.
excuse though, too. Good excuse.
good. I'm glad you
All right.
all bought that one.
Yeah.
All right, thank
Thanks.
you.
Take care, folks.
I'll review that. Okay, thank you, Tom.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.